Hello, beautiful friends, and welcome to the 2026 Senior Blueprint. I am so excited to be teaching you guys today 5 proven strategies, proven tweaks that you can make in your business to see an increase in senior portrait bookings for the year of 2026. I am so honored that you are spending an hour with me this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. I can promise you that it is going to be a jam-packed class. I do not mess around. We have 130 slides to cover together in about an hour. So we're going to see if we can make it happen. But before we jump into anything important today, I just want to be sure that everybody can hear and see me okay. It's already been so fun to see in the chat that so many of you are here live tuning in from all over the country. We have Minneapolis, Florida, Virginia, which is my hometown, North Carolina, Montana, Arkansas, Arizona, Texas, Ohio. This is incredible. I am just so grateful that every single one of you are here. So thank you for investing an hour of your time into me and into your education in your photography business. I am so proud of you for taking time today, especially on a day off, to grow your business. And so we have a lot of content to cover today. I know we already said that. Before we jump into any of the good stuff, I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. I know we've been talking about where we're tuning in from. I'd also love to hear where you are at in your senior photography journey. Are you brand new to the idea of senior portraits? Maybe you've been a photographer for a little bit, but you're thinking about moving in the direction of seniors specifically. Are you a brand new photographer in general and you're just interested in senior portraits as a possible niche? Or are you a seasoned vet in the world of seniors? You've been shooting seniors a long time, but you're feeling effects of this kind of weird market that we're in right now and wanting to be sure that you are maintaining momentum with those 2026 bookings. Let me know in the chat. I would just love to hear kind of where everybody is in their business as they're tuning in. And if you are tuning in, I would be so honored and excited to see where you're tuning in from. So if you are listening and you're here for class, I think that your audience should know about it. I think that they deserve to know that you are working really hard to grow your business, improve your client experience, and be better for your clients. And so if you post an Instagram story to share that you're tuning in, be sure to tag me. I would love to repost it, feature it on my account. And I also just think it would be an amazing way to show your audience how you are showing up for them in 2026. Okay, I see a few people here in the chat, pretty much a seasoned vet. Tracy, I love that, that you've been doing this a long time, but you're always up for new ideas. I think that's amazing. Misty said she's fairly new. She's done it in years in the past, but she really committed to it last year. That is so exciting. What an awesome time to be in this class. If you really committed to seniors last year and you want to keep up that momentum for this year. Looks like Megan said she's not brand new, but she's like to gain some more traction this year, which I think a lot of us are feeling. Okay, let's see. Samantha said she's moving into seniors. Rebecca said she's not new to photography, but wants more senior clients. It seems like a lot of us are kind of in that boat. Christy has been a photographer for a long time, but would love to focus primarily on seniors. Okay, this is so exciting, guys, because I know that each of you are going to be able to walk away with value from this class. We are going to be covering everything from tiny tweaks that you can make in your business to grow and see more bookings in 2026, but also how to gain momentum even if you've never photographed a senior before. So we have a lot of good stuff to cover today. So here's all that I ask of you. If you are here and you are taking an hour of your time to invest in your business and to grow, then I think you owe it to yourself to remove distractions and try really hard to just give an hour of focused time to this webinar. I promise that I'm going to make it worth your time. And if you don't already, be sure to grab a notebook and a pen and have it nearby. If you've been in any of my webinars before, you might already know this, but I talk very quickly because when I build these classes, I don't think about it like this is a free class. So how can I just kind of touch on the topic? I think about it like, how can I make people walk away from this class feeling like they got way more than they bargained for? And so that's the goal today, is to give you way more than you bargained for. So I'm going to need you guys to make sure you are tuned in, listening, and taking notes so that you don't miss a thing. We're going to move quickly, and I promise it's going to be worth your time. So let's go ahead and jump right into the 2026 Senior Blueprint, 5 steps to set your business and your bookings up for success in what I think we can all agree feels like a little bit of a weird market right now. So for anybody that's tuning in that maybe does not know who I am, I just wanted to give a little bit of an introduction. My name is Hope. I'm a senior portrait photographer, and I'm also an educator. I've been doing this for over 13 years. I'm also a mama to soon to be 2 under 2. I am due in 4 weeks from today with our second baby. And I live in Charleston. So I love sharing about our life in the Low Country as well. And one of the most important elements of my story is that I actually started my business when I was only 15 years old. And I started my business with senior photography being my niche. And I've been doing this since day one. So my business actually all started when I was only 16 years old. I began my business between AP bio classes and cheer practice. I was literally working a retail job that I just did not love. I felt so stuck. I was making minimum wage and I just didn't have a passion for what I was doing. And I felt like that was a waste of time. So I picked up a camera and started taking pictures of my friends on the side for fun. And long story very short, it quickly escalated into becoming a full-time business by my senior year of high school. And when I graduated, I decided to revoke my admission from the college that I had committed to, paid for. I had classes, I had a roommate. I was literally a few weeks from moving in and decided to revoke that admission and go full-time instead. So I was very young. Everybody had every reason to believe that I could not make this happen. And I had to prove that I could make it happen very, very quickly. And now I've been a full-time photographer for over 13 years, and senior portraits have always been my specialty. And some of what we're going to touch on in this class is exactly how I did it and strategies that I've updated for 2026, but that are also what propelled my growth forward in those first few years. So on the docket that we're going to learn today are 5 changes that I would make to increase bookings this year in a to-do list format. I don't want this to feel like high-level concepts of things that you can't actually apply right away. I want you to feel like you're logging off of this class with a tactical to-do list that you can actually go and apply right away to see results. I'm also going to be sharing the strategies that I'm using to attract Gen Z seniors on social media. I think we are all feeling the effects of Gen Z doing social media a little bit differently, and I want to share how I'm combating that and marketing successfully despite all of those changes. And I'm going to be talking about how to book your very first senior session or build momentum for those of us that are more senior vets. We're more experienced in the senior world, but we're still wanting to maintain traction and momentum in 2026. And there's a surprise bonus at the end that I am beyond excited to share with you guys. For being here live on this class, you are actually going to be getting something brand new that I have not told anybody about, that I have not shared anywhere else. And I cannot wait to tell you about it. But you're also going to get to ask me questions live. I do these classes only 2 or 3 times a year, which means you only have 2 or 3 times a year to ask me questions and pick my brain, especially for free. So be sure you stick around until the end because I would love to answer your questions and also just can't wait to share this surprise announcement with you. Here's a quick little timeline of how my business got to where it is now. I started all the way back in 2013, so over 13 years ago. Like I mentioned, I quit that part-time job that I was not loving and started a photography business when I was basically a baby. I literally didn't even have a driver's license yet, if you can believe it. And in 2014 is when I graduated high school and I revoked my admission to the college that I had committed to. My dad wasn't thrilled. That's always the first question I get is, how did your parents feel about that? My dad was not thrilled. My mom was always just so blindly supportive and really believed that I could do whatever I had my heart set on. And my dad believed that too, but he also wanted me to have a safety net. And I definitely didn't have a safety net in those couple of weeks where I decided to revoke my college admission. But in that same year, I worked harder than ever doing some of these strategies that I'm going to share in this class today. And I was able to scale my business to 6 figures of revenue in the very first year. And all of a sudden, dad was like, okay, you know what? This is actually probably going to work out. In 2016, excuse me, so over 10 years ago, I fully embraced the niche of being a senior photographer. Previously, I was photographing seniors, but I was also doing a little bit of everything, which is kind of how all of us get started, right? I was photographing families, newborns, weddings, engagements, anything you could think of. I was accepting it. If you inquired with me, I would take your photos. But in 2016, I really leaned into that niche of being the go-to senior portrait photographer in my area. And now, fast forward 10 years, I charge almost $2,000 for a session. And I also photograph seniors and educate other photographers full time. So I have been doing this for a long time and also educating for a long time. And I absolutely love it. I am so grateful that I get to do what I love every single day that I started all the way back when I was 15. So, you are in the right class today if you resonate with any of these statements. Maybe you're feeling frustrated and overwhelmed with marketing right now, and something has to change so you can reach your ideal clients. Raise your hand in the chat. You can just drop the hand raise emoji or just let me know if you resonate with any of these. I have personally felt incredibly frustrated lately with the marketing world and social media and how fast paced everything is and how few people are actually seeing my content. This can feel so overwhelming and almost defeating. And you're in the right place if you're feeling that way, because I think some of the things that we're going to talk about are going to help you combat this and feel confident in a strategy that actually works. Maybe you absolutely love photographing seniors, but you can't seem to book enough to niche down and say no to the other types of work that you don't love quite as much. This was me for a really long time. And I do also photograph weddings, but I have had multiple seasons of my business where seniors have been specifically my niche, and I'm able to book enough and have enough revenue from the senior side of my business to sustain my business. And so if you're feeling that way, you are also in the right place today, because we're going to be talking about how to increase your revenue, your price per session, and your bookings to niche down to be a senior photographer. And lastly, maybe you're feeling the effects of a really weird market right now, and you just want to be sure that you're setting yourself up for success. I know a lot of us are in so many kind of photography Facebook groups, photography communities. We follow so many photographers online, and we see a lot of these conversations happening about how this market is weirder than ever. They're seeming hesitant to book. They're less likely to trust you from the get-go. They're asking more questions. Your content is harder to see. Everything is kind of working against us and feeling just like an uphill battle the time. And so if you're feeling like any of these things resonate with you right now, you are in the right place, because we are going to be talking about ways to combat some of these feelings with strategies that actually work. So let me know if you're still with me in the chat. We are going to dive into the 5 steps to book more seniors. I just want to be sure you're still with me before we jump into the thick of the good stuff. Okay, looks like everybody is still with me. I am so excited to jump into all of this. I was literally perfecting these slides up until about 5 minutes before we went live, because I wanted to pack them with as much content as we can. So we are going to call these 5 things that we're going to talk about today little checkups, or as my toddler would say, oh no, you have a boo-boo. We're going to talk about the 5 areas of your business that you might just need to check in with at the start of 2026. The reason that I am hosting this class now is because we are in the thick of January right now, which means we have January, February, and for a lot of us, the month of March, that is a little bit of a slower shooting season, right? So we have more time to focus on working on our businesses instead of just in our businesses. We are not just maintaining and bogged down by editing and emails and to-do lists. We actually have a little bit of margin where we can make changes to the bigger picture parts of our business. So these 5 areas we're going to talk about today, I want us to look at it like doing a little checkup, doing a little bit of maintenance. Maybe it's like getting an oil change. These 5 areas of your business are what we are going to check in with during this slow season to make some tweaks and make some updates to set us up for success for the remainder of the year. So we're going to consider these little checkups. Okay. So checkup number 1 that I want you to make, this is a checkup that I do every single year, no matter what. I do a check-in on my website during this Q1 slow season of business. And I have reviewed dozens of photographers' websites over the last 2 years. This is actually something that I do for some of my students, where I will review their website, give them feedback, and tell them what they need to tweak. And over the last 2 years, I have seen so many of the same common mistakes happening again and again and again. I was literally recording these website critiques and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I sound like a broken record, because these are such seemingly small mistakes that some of us are making that could be making huge impacts on disrupting your bookings. And so I want to talk about those 3 common mistakes that I've seen happening again and again and again, to be sure that all of us are doing this checkup well and fixing the most common mistakes that I see. So Mistake number one is that a lot of photographers are missing vital information on the section of their website that we refer to as above the fold. So, above the fold is the section of your website that somebody sees right when they land on your website without having to scroll, without having to click anywhere. It is the very first impression that they see. Whatever they're seeing when they click on your website for the first time, that's what we call above the fold. And the reason that this is so important is because I mentioned this briefly earlier. We are in such a fast moving digital market right now. People are obsessed with short form video. They're obsessed with fast shipping. They're obsessed with instant gratification. They are not patient on the internet. People are not patient on the internet anymore. So if they have to search really hard on your website in order to find one of these common pieces of information or one of these kind of things that they're probably searching for when they land on your website immediately, if they have to find it, if they have to work really hard and scroll and click and search your site for these answers, they're probably just going to get bored or frustrated and click off to a different photographer's website. So these three questions need to be answered above the fold. Right when somebody clicks on your website, before they even scroll, they should at one quick glance be able to answer these three questions. The biggest thing I see people leave off of their website is where they serve, where they are located. Because a lot of us assume that if you have clicked on my website, you already know that I live in Charleston, right? You've Googled Charleston senior photographer, or maybe you follow me on Instagram for a while and you know I live there, and then you click onto my website. We don't want to make that assumption. So if somebody lands on your website and they can't quickly find where you live and if you live close enough to them to serve them well, then they're just going to click off and find somebody who does. So we want to be sure that Charleston Senior Photographer is front and center on everybody's that your location is front and center on your website. Charleston Senior Photographer needs to be front and center on mine. Wherever you serve needs to be front and center on yours. The second is who you serve. And what I mean by that is what types of photography you offer. If somebody is looking for a newborn photographer and they land on your website and they only see senior pictures, they're probably going to assume that you're not the right photographer for them. But you want to be sure that you are as clear as possible about this. And taking it a step further, ideally, we're going to be specific about who our ideal client is that we serve. So I'm a senior portrait photographer that lives in Charleston, but not just that. I am a senior portrait photographer that lives in Charleston that specializes in joyful, colorful, floral-filled senior sessions. You see how that is immediately telling people that land on my website whether or not I am who they're looking for. Are you looking for a newborn family, dark and moody photographer in a different state? You're in the wrong spot. I want them to immediately know that I am the photographer for them based on copy they can see right when they land on my website. And lastly, this is going to feel like the most obvious, but you want them to get an idea of what your photos look like. Obviously, we're going to have a portfolio page. We're going to have sample galleries. We're going to have places where they can explore our work further as they get into our website. But we want there to be a powerful first impression of what our photos look like, and ideally a really good taste of what our style is from the get-go. So let me know if in the chat, if you type your website right now in the search bar, are these three questions immediately answered above the fold? Do not feel embarrassed if the answer is no, because I'm telling you, I have done dozens and dozens of critiques, and I would say 70% of people were missing at least one of these things. So you are not alone, but this is such a quick and easy thing that you could tweak right now and even hit publish while you're listening to me in the background. Make these updates to be sure those three questions are answered above the fold on your website. The second mistake I see is a lack of intentional curation. And this is one of those things that a lot of photographers listening, you guys are going to tune me out for this, because you're going to be like, I just updated the homepage photos on my website. I don't need to do it again. Mine are great. And the problem with that is that a lot of photographers are so close to their own work that they have favorite photos for a variety of reasons. And all of us have favorite photos for a variety of reasons, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the right photos to have as the very first impression on the homepage of your website. This section of your website is vital, right? This is somebody's first impression of you that is going to make them decide in a matter of split seconds whether or not they want to stay and click around and learn more or go find somebody else. So with that in mind, when I was scrolling through these dozens of photographers' portfolios on their website, I found a lot of times where I could tell it was a photographer's favorite image because there was so much golden glowy light, but when it was compared next to all the other other portfolio images on their homepage, it felt really orange and it stood out like a sore thumb. And instead of it being this gorgeous standalone golden hour photo, it actually just felt out of place and made your work look inconsistent. And that is not what we want. So we want to be sure that those images on the homepage of our website, first of all, if you haven't updated them in a while, just take this as your sign that you should do that. But when you're updating them, you want to be sure that they are the best of the best of the best of your work. There should not be more than maybe 15 to 20 images in this portfolio, and they should reflect, again, the best of the best of the best. And it should be consistent in terms of lighting and editing. And ideally, you're highlighting not just one session, but a variety of sessions that show your ability to create the same consistent results. So make sure we do a little bit of a zhuzh, a little bit of an update of those images that we are showing on our homepage. And the third mistake that I see being made so commonly is that there is nowhere to find you as the photographer. So many photographers skip this because they don't want to show themselves. They don't want to talk about themselves. They feel like their clients don't care about them. Why would they care about who I am? I'm just, a mom. I'm just a dad. I'm just a XYZ. Why would they want to know about who I am? It is one of the only surefire, 100% certain ways to stand out in your market is to embrace who you are as a part of your brand. I could do an entire free training on talking about personal marketing, so I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I really believe you are doing yourself a major disservice if there are not multiple places on your website to learn about you outside of your job as a photographer. If the only place they're learning about you is you saying, I've had a camera in my hand for as long as I can remember, and I went to art school, and here's my credentials, and here's all the places I've been published. That's great. I'm not making fun of you if that's what's on your website. That is a great starting point. But we have to remember that a lot of our clients, all of our clients really, are not photographers. So if the only place you're talking about yourself on your website is related to your history of being a photographer, you're not leaving any room for your clients to connect and relate to you because they aren't photographers. So give yourself the opportunity to share about who you are outside of your photography journey. You have 2 cats, you have 3 kids, you love making sourdough in your spare time, you love interior design, you've traveled 20 countries. Use this part of your website to really let your clients get to know who you are outside of your job as a photographer, because it gives them the opportunity to connect to you and gives you the opportunity to stand out in your market solely because of who you are. So at minimum, there should be a headshot of you on your website where you are looking at the camera and smiling, not a super wide photo really far away where I can't even see your eyes, but a really clear headshot of you looking and smiling at the camera. That is the bare minimum that I am going to require you, just kidding, but suggest that you put on your website when you hang up from this free training. Okay, the first checkup that we're going to do, the first thing we're going to tweak is our website. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our approach, because all of us know that Gen Z does things a little bit differently, which means that we have to do things a little bit differently too. If our goal is to book more seniors, then we need to change our approach along with the market that we are trying to reach. Let me know if you're still with me before we dive into number 2. We're talking about your approach to attracting seniors to your business. And I'm going to go ahead and start this section by calling myself out because here is what I looked like in high school. This is a selfie of me. I don't even know what phone this is. I wanted it to be like a cool Razr flip phone or something that all of us remember from the 2010s, but it wasn't. But seniors back then, making fun of myself, had braces and gaps in their teeth and a blue eyeshadow. I had terribly cut bangs. I don't know what this statement ring was that I was wearing. But, we all kind of went through a little bit of an awkward phase. Unfortunately for me, the seniors now are like my sister. She is 9 years younger than me, but she is like the coolest person I know. And so they are fashion forward. They are basically all content creators by nature. All kind of have their own aesthetic and brand and vibe, and they just really embrace almost like being mini influencers just by default. So things have changed is the moral of the story, right? A lot has changed in the senior market from 10 years ago, even when I started my business. And so if that much has changed, then we need to be sure that we're changing with it, right? So here's a couple of examples specifically of what has changed in terms of the senior photography world. Seniors back then, when I started my business, so 2013 through, let's say, 2016, 2017, seniors really wanted the same thing as their friends. I was really being paid as a senior photographer to be able to recreate the same result over and over again. A lot of people wanted the same locations, similar styles, similar outfits, and they also wanted really relaxed sessions. People didn't want to go above and beyond and do all these extra crazy props. A lot of my clients wanted a pretty simple dress in an open field barefoot. That is what a lot of my seniors wanted at Sunset. I shot that same session over and over and over again. They didn't want to come off as trying too hard or trying to be different. They wanted their session to just feel really casual and relaxed. And they also wanted that really traditional posing, kind of the old school fist to chin posing. A lot of people would consider it a little cheesy or outdated now, but it is what I photographed a lot of. People laying in that open field with their fists to their chin, with their feet kicked up behind them with cowgirl boots. That was a lot of what I was doing back then. But now Gen Z is looking for something entirely different. They are looking for a little bit of quote unquote extra. All of my seniors want something unique about their session. Pink cap and gowns, over the top outfits, fun props, the pink car that you guys see me photograph all the time. Really, they're wanting to highlight their own creativity. They don't want their photos to look like their friends. They want to have an outside of the box experience that feels personalized and custom to them. And they also want that unposed posing. They don't want that cheesy pose anymore. They want their photos to feel effortless and almost like you weren't even there telling them what to do. You just happened to capture them in their natural element, like walking down the street in Charleston. They want their photos to feel unposed like they see on Pinterest and on TikTok. So, with this in mind, with all of these changes in mind, we obviously can't keep marketing like it's still 2016. If all of these changes are happening in our market, then we have to change with it. So, let's break each of these down really quickly, one by one, and the tiny tweaks that I've made in order to accommodate these changes in what the Gen Z market is looking for. First thing I talked about is that they want a little bit of extra. They are not scared to go above and beyond. They do not shy away from being different than their friends or outside of the box. So, how can we encourage that? How can we really lean into this and make sure that we're showing it and showing our audience that we're capable of this? Because one of the questions I get is, okay, Hope, but how do I show that I'm willing to do this and market that type of session if I'm not shooting this? Like, what if my clients are a little bit more on the budget side and they're not going above and beyond and they're showing up in a t-shirt and jeans and they don't bring props? How can I show this if I'm not shooting this? And I want you to encourage your seniors to embrace the extra a little bit, because what I've learned is that a lot of seniors have fun ideas. They really like the concept of going above and beyond for their session, but they don't know where to start. And so one of the simplest tweaks that I made in my senior experience that changed the game a few years ago is incorporating what I call a senior style guide. This is a 60+ page virtual magazine that I send to all of my senior clients as soon as they book me. And it walks them through everything that they could possibly need to know about their senior experience with me, but really encourages them and equips them with everything they need to make their session above and beyond. Because especially if this is the first child in a family that's getting their senior portraits taken, they might not know what they can do. They might not know what options are available to them, what they should be thinking about bringing, how they can customize their session. And so here's some things that my style guide includes. I'm going to break down what to wear, inspiration boards of past senior sessions. That's what you see in these photos is inspiration boards. Where to shop, suggestions of props, visuals of all of the different location options and how they can pick really good outfits that match the locations. So I'm really just kind of going above and beyond to prepare them for their shoot, but I'm also being really, really strategic about setting myself up to make more income as well. So this senior style guide includes print and product introductions. Like, hey, after your session, you're going to be introduced to your gallery where you can order prints and products. Here's what each of them are and why you should get them. A tour of their gallery and a tutorial of how to use it. The value of prints and products. Why should they invest in prints and products after their shoot? How to share their images online, encouraging them to post on social media and market your business for you. And you can even carry this concept over to your senior rep or spokesmodel team to have a guide guide for them that breaks down how to market for you, caption ideas, things they should and shouldn't be saying, ways that they can send referrals to your business. This concept of kind of client education and providing them with information about what to expect about with their experience and how to go above and beyond at their session is going to enable them to feel like they can go above and beyond at their session. And I see a couple people in the chat saying they've bought mine. I am not pitching this to you today, but I do sell my template in my shop. If you're somebody that's like, okay, well, that sounds overwhelming, you can purchase my exact guide and then just drop in your own images. If you'd like to, you get to use all of my own words too. But just this principle, it does not have to be 60 pages. It doesn't have to be my template. The concept of client education and encouraging your seniors and kind of sparking these creative ideas in their mind is a great place to start to encourage people to show up and go above and beyond, go that extra mile, be a little extra. And then you have content and images to be sharing on your social media platform to encourage that momentum and that snowball effect of your clients showing up with those types of prompts. The second thing Gen Z wants is creativity. So they don't want their photos to look like their friends. They want that outside of the box personalized experience. So how can we show this in our marketing? How can we show and present ourselves as somebody who is willing to do this? This makes me so happy to see in the chat. Furious note-taking underway. I am so glad. That makes me so happy. Okay, so how do we highlight this? How do we show Gen Z that we can provide them what they want when it comes to creativity? Like I talked about, seniors used to want what was popular, and now they want something outside of the box. So how do we show up on social media, show up in our marketing and say, hey, I am willing to create something special and unique for you and something outside of the box? Number one, an easy way to do this is to show the creation process and bring your audience along for your senior sessions. I do this at every single one of my sessions. I post behind the scenes clips on my Instagram stories throughout my shoots. And then my sneak peeks later that night get way more engagement and way more interaction because people felt like they got to follow along with the process. Like, hey, this location that is a random field behind a random gas station on the side of the road looks a little crazy in these behind the scenes Instagram videos, but look how beautiful it photographed on my camera. I'm showing them that I am able to take these unique situations, these not ideal locations, and create beautiful results. It makes your audience feel like they're coming along for the creation process and shows your creativity in real time. On top of that senior style guide I mentioned, another thing that I utilize in my client experience is a questionnaire. So when a client books me, not only do they get that senior style guide, but they get a questionnaire to complete that tells me more about them, their vision for the session, who they are, their style, their favorite things about themselves, what they're expecting, their inspiration board they've been pinning to on Pinterest. And this allows me to create personalized suggestions for them to go above and beyond and make their session unique. So if I get a questionnaire of somebody saying they really love bright colored florals, but maybe their session is in a month of the year where there's not going to be a lot of bright colored florals naturally at the locations we're shooting. This actually happened to me last week. I had a senior session last week, mid-January. It was like 40 degrees, and she really wanted a spring feeling session. All of her outfits were pastel maxi dresses, and they were gorgeous. But how could I make that session feel like what she wanted? I suggested that she just grab some grocery store flowers and bring them with her wrapped in brown paper. It didn't cost her much extra money, but it transformed her senior session, and it felt so much more springy, so much more her. And I was able to do so much with those florals. So I wouldn't have known that about her and that that's what she was envisioning for her session if she had not filled out this questionnaire and I hadn't made that suggestion for her to bring them with her. And encourage them to personalize their session. When they complete that questionnaire, send an email to them that says, hey, based on your questionnaire, I think this location and this location would be perfect for you. I saw this dress on Instagram that I thought would be a great fit for you. And I think it could be really fun if you considered bringing these few props. No pressure. Some of them are really, maybe some of them are free things that they could grab. Maybe some of them are paid options, but encourage them to personalize their session, because the more that you're able to show images that show off your seniors personalizing their sessions and going above and beyond, the more you're going to attract seniors who are willing to do the same thing. The last thing we talked about Gen Z wanting is that unposed posing. They don't want those cheesy old school poses. They want effortless images that feel like you weren't even there. Back then, I was doing a lot of images like this, standard cap and gown, smiling at the camera to hang on mom and dad's wall. Now I'm doing a lot more like this. a lot more fun walking around, action images, real time photos, and things that just feel a little bit more candid. Here's just a few more examples of that. So, a couple of pose suggestions is that I'm incorporating a lot of moving prompts more than I ever used to do. So, I'm doing a lot of things like the flamingo pose, where we pop one leg up behind us to show off our cute shoe, twirling your dress, walking across the frame, walking towards and away from the frame, swaying back and forth, movement with whatever outfit it is that they're wearing, playing with props and actually using those props. So, not just standing in front of the car, but sitting in the driver's seat with their hands on the wheel. I'm really incorporating a lot of movement into my posing more than I ever did before, because it's what seniors want in their images these days. And I think another really important element of this is, okay, if we know that this is what Gen Z is wanting, we have to be sure that we are highlighting the images that they want to see in our marketing. This is such a hard change to make. We talked about it a little bit with our website portfolios. If we are super close to our work and we love these images that we took because they were perfect golden hour lighting and the composition is amazing, but if it is a, quote unquote cheesy pose, or maybe it's an image where the senior doesn't look their absolute best, or they have a lot of flyaway hairs, or it's just not super flattering, we want to avoid posting that photo. Even though maybe we love it from a photography perspective, it would be much better to post the photo that the seniors want to see, the one that your client is going to be more likely to be excited about and repost because they look amazing, and their friends are going to be more excited about it because it's going to get them engaged and excited about the potential to have the same type of senior photos. So, with all of that in mind, okay, this is what Gen Z is wanting. This is kind of some small ways to incorporate it into our marketing. But if we're going to shift our marketing, then we also have to shift our content. So, the third area of our business that I want to do a checkup on, or an audit of, as we move into 2026 is your social media content strategy. How are we creating content for social media that aligns with all of these things we just talked about? And how is Gen Z using Instagram differently than they used to? So, this is the strategy that I am literally using right now, day to day in my own business. I actually changed this morning. I added in a new step because it's something that I've started doing in the last couple of weeks that I'm seeing a lot of success with. So you guys are getting really relevant current content. One of the biggest, and I want to know in the chat if you guys are also seeing this, because I find this fascinating. But one of the biggest changes that I have noticed with Gen Z is that they don't want to post pictures of themselves. And here's what I mean by that. I used to know, leaving my senior sessions, that if I got a senior a sneak peek that night, that they would post those sneak peeks on their Instagram feed. It was kind of like what they lived for, right? Was they would get their senior photos taken. I'm talking like mid 2010s. They would get their senior photos taken. I would send them same day sneak peeks that night. And my surefire marketing strategy was that they were going to go home and post those photos on their Instagram feed. Now that does not happen, because what Gen Z wants is that they feel, it almost feels uncool to post a photo of themselves. Like, it almost feels like, hey, look at me. Look at this cool thing I did. And instead, they want their senior session to feel like the Grammys, and you are the paparazzi. So when celebrities go to an award show, right, they are not taking selfies and having their own personal photographer create content that they're sharing. They are posting the photos that the paparazzi candidly happened to capture of them on the red carpet. And that is what seniors today, in today's day and age, are wanting their senior session to feel like. So if we can't rely on them to go home and post their photos, that removes a ton of marketing, right? Because now the seniors aren't posting their photos for their friends to see. So how are we supposed to get in front of more of our ideal customers? Well, what we need to do is we need to be treating every single senior session like a content gold mine, because the more we post from their senior session, the more they will repost that content to put in front of their own audience. My senior from this morning might not go home and post a sneak peek from her session, but if I post a really cute reel from her senior session, she's going to repost that on her stories, and then her friends are going to see it and they're going to repost it on their stories, because that's how seniors function nowadays. They like to hype each other up and get each other engaged on social media by reposting their friends' content on their stories. So I need to create more opportunities to post from each senior session. I need each senior session to basically be like a content gold mine, so that the more I post about that senior, the more they have the opportunity to repost. I'm basically not only posting, obviously I want my audience to engage too, but a primary reason I'm posting on Instagram is so my senior reposts it. So we have to think of every senior session through a little bit of a different lens. We need to treat it like a gold mine. I'm seeing so many of you agree with me in the chat. So true. Totally agree. Definitely. I've been seeing this too. Yeah, all of us are feeling this in the chat right now, which is hilarious that so many of us are experiencing the same thing. So here are the pieces of content that I am now trying to get at every single one of my senior sessions. I have my phone on do not disturb because I never want my clients to feel like I am checking my phone or responding to something on my phone or reading a text message, but I have my phone in my hand or in my pocket at my entire senior sessions, and I am getting video clips on my phone as much as I possibly can. So I'm getting at least one short clip of my senior in each of their outfits. I'm trying my absolute best to get behind the scenes content of myself, whether that means I just sit my phone up on the ground or on a wall and film while I'm shooting, or I have an assistant or intern or one of my kids or my husband come with me to get some behind the scenes content. I try to get one clip of each location I'm shooting. So I'm just kind of painting across the location to show what I'm shooting. And then I try to get one clip of myself with my camera. So maybe that's just a 0.5 selfie video of me walking down the street with my camera. And then I try to get one excited grand finale clip of my senior. Maybe that's them like jumping off the ground or throwing their cap if they brought a cap and gown to the session. But these are the 5 pieces of content I try my absolute best to get a short video clip of on my phone at every single senior session. It doesn't happen every time. There are times I leave my senior sessions and I'm like, oh my gosh, Hope, you forgot to get any behind the scenes clips. What are you doing? But I do try my absolute best. And I find that if I have my phone in my pocket or in my hand or easily accessible, it's way more likely for this to happen. But I am prioritizing this type of content. And then what I have set for myself, I've always done my Instagram stories throughout my sessions and then a sneak peek the night of my shoot. But now I also challenge myself to do the one reel rule. I try every single senior session to create at least one reel of that session. And typically what that looks like is just a video of a couple of clips of the senior from that session. And it says senior portraits with Katie. And it just shows a couple of clips of the senior session with Katie. I tag her, I tag everybody that was at the shoot, and then I post more photos of her later so people can come back to see the final results. So a couple little steps. Number one, when I post this reel, this was Bella's senior session. This kind of gives an example. You can tell that's just kind of a blurry, low quality iPhone clip. The sun was coming in. It was really, really bright. But I got a couple of clips like this and I pieced them together with a trending audio or a fun song. And you can see how many comments this got and how much engagement it got. And it was just a behind the scenes of her shoot. There were no final images in this reel, but it was a fun way for my audience to see what the behind the scenes of the session was. And Bella, this senior, felt great in these clips. She looked so cute. And so she was so excited to go repost this reel on her stories. So I'm going to tag my client in these reels and anyone else that was at the shoot. If mom was there, if there was a makeup artist that did her makeup, if I know the brand of her dress and shoes and jewelry, if it was a business or a location that I can tag, I'm going to tag them. I want as many people as possible to repost this reel on their stories. I'm also going to try to use keywords in the caption that are relevant to the location. Instagram is kind of leaning a little towards having a search engine feature where people can search Charleston senior portraits and find reels that way. So I try to incorporate Charleston or the location that we were at in the caption. And then I also, like I mentioned, tag any vendors or brands that were involved. If I know what the senior's wearing, if I know there was a makeup artist, if there was a prop, if her friends came, if we were near a hotel downtown that I can tag. I just want to tag as many people as possible to get as many eyes on this reel as possible. And this is actually what I added this morning. I know that this is a feature that is slowly rolling out on Instagram, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's still very new. It might be one of those things that's only around for a little bit, but right now you can do what's called trial reels. If you have a business account and if you've been given this feature that's slowly rolling out, essentially it is showing people that do not follow you your reels. So the only people that see trial reels are people that do not follow you. And it's very strange. There's not a ton of information out there about what the algorithm actually is in terms of how it works and like how does Instagram decide who it's going to show this reel to, aside from the fact that we just know it's people that don't follow us. But I have been doing at least one trial reel per day for about the last 2 weeks, and I am seeing an increase in followers and engagement as a result, which is really, really interesting. So here's what I have been doing and what to keep in mind with trial reels, if you have this feature, is that these reels are going to a completely a cold audience. So these people have no idea who you are or why you should matter to them. Instead of posting a reel like, my senior session dates are filling up, I only have 2 left for the spring, that's probably not a good trial reel, because the people that it's showing that reel to have no idea who you are or why they should care about that. Instead, I'm posting things that introduce myself, that show my work and my unique value, and things that are like before and afters. Here's an iPhone clip and the final image. Here's a cute little intro that says, I'm Hope, and if you're looking for senior photos in Charleston that are colorful and floral, then you should follow me. And this is your sign to have your senior photos taken in Charleston, with a couple of cute photos of Charleston. POV, you come all the way to Charleston to have your senior photos taken. Location-specific content like POV, you dream of having your senior portraits taken at the Mills House or Rainbow Row or one of the famous locations nearby. So those are the types of things I'm posting to trials reels and seeing success with. But I have been challenging myself to do one of these a day just for the last 2 weeks to see what happens. And I do think that I'm getting a little bit of traction there. So worth considering adding into your workflow. Okay, the fourth thing that I think we should do a little checkup or check in with as we move into 2026 is your pricing. And I just want another raise of hands in the chat. How many of us feel a little bit like this? Like our brains are running on a hamster wheel 24/7. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I am making hundreds of tiny little micro decisions every single day. Because again, I've said it like 3 times, but we are in such a fast-paced digital marketing world right now. We have so much content being thrown at us 24/7, ads, short form video. We're constantly scrolling and just seeing so many things all the time that our brains are tired. Decision fatigue is a very, very real thing. By the end of the day, I don't even want my husband to ask me what sounds good to me for dinner, despite being 36 weeks pregnant. I am too tired to care. Just feed me, please. I am so tired of making decisions. And I think that a lot of our customers and clients and market feel this way right now. They have decision fatigue, especially when you think of parents of seniors who have had to make so many decisions for their child's senior year. They're making decisions about everything from graduation to senior ads to college to applications to sports. I mean, they are deciding their child's future this year. And so they have major, major, major decision fatigue. And so what I have learned is that if somebody inquires with me and they are super excited to work with me, and then I send them my pricing and it feels like an overwhelming decision for them to have to make, or a confusing structure or an overwhelming list of options, it's actually doing them a disservice. So I want my pricing structure to have 0 barrier to entry. I want it to be as simple as possible for my clients to find my information and my pricing information on my website and get in contact with me quickly. So I really believe in the power of having a starting price at minimum on your website so that people can find that information quickly. Here's what that looks like on my website. You can go there and read all of this. But the experience begins at $1,850. And I walk through exactly what that includes here on this page. But even more than that, I only have one senior package, just one. I don't have a ton of options for them to add on. I don't have multiple pricing structures. I don't have a mini session and then a full session and then an even fuller session. I consider myself the expert. I've been doing this for 13 years. So I have learned what my clients prefer and what they need in order to have a well-rounded experience. And I would rather just present that to them as like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know what your daughter needs for her senior session. You don't have to worry about it. Here's one less decision for you to have to make. All you have to do is sign the contract. And I find that my clients prefer that in this current market because they have that decision fatigue. They don't want to have to make any more decisions. So here's how my my pricing is structured. You can see on the left, it's one senior session package. On the right, there's a couple of add-on options if they want to do a location that's a little bit outside of my city, just because a lot of beaches and things like that are outside of my town. But it is one flat price, one senior session package. I don't do mini sessions. I don't do extra time really, unless they really need it. It is one senior session package. And because I do this, I am making more per shoot. I am not getting up, getting my camera gear charged and ready and getting out the door for a 15-minute mini session. That's a fraction of what the full price is. I know that every single session I'm going to be making the same amount. And because I am presenting them the best of the best, well-rounded package, I'm able to charge a premium for it. So let me know if that makes sense in the chat, but I really believe the fourth area that you should check up on and change and tweak and simplify for 2026 is your pricing and your packages. I really believe seniors and especially their parents are looking for a simple pricing structure that is an easy to understand decision that doesn't confuse them and overwhelm them like all of the other decisions that they have to make. It almost feels like a relief and like a sigh of relief, a breath of fresh air when your pricing is easy to understand and takes one decision off of their plate. The last thing that we're going to dive into, the fifth thing, and we are definitely going to go over an hour here, y'all. So hopefully you're still with me, but we are going to be talking about editing or auditing or doing a checkup on your portfolio. And this is the section of the presentation I really want you to tune into if you are a new photographer. If you are a brand new photographer or you're still in those first 1 to 3 years of really growing your business and your portfolio and your traction in your market, this is for you because I'm going to be talking about how to book your first ever senior session. But even if you are a seasoned senior photographer, and you feel like you've lost a little bit of traction or your audience isn't as engaged or you maybe just feel creatively burnt out, this strategy is also a way to re-engage your audience and gain more traction in your market. This is something that I still do to this day. So let's go ahead and jump into how to audit your portfolio. And here are things that I hear literally all of the time when I'm talking to people who want to break into the senior photography market. The first thing I hear is, I don't know any seniors. I am a 50-plus-year-old woman. I am a 30-plus-year-old man. I am so far removed from the senior market. I don't know any seniors. How in the world am I supposed to break into this market when I don't have any connections? I also hear things all the time like, I'm too old for seniors. I am too young to photograph seniors. I'm not cute enough to photograph seniors. I'm not experienced enough to photograph seniors, or I'm too lame to photograph seniors. Like, they don't think I'm cool enough. I hear every different variation of this sentence all the time. And I also hear, how can I not be creepy? Like, if I am reaching out to seniors in my area because I want to photograph them and build a market and a portfolio, how do I not come across as creepy? Because ultimately they are minors. So how do I do that in a way that isn't creepy? And I also hear all the time, I just can't get them to book. And I also hear, I just can't get them to book. Like, I can't get them to get excited about working with me. I get inquiries, but they're not actually coming into my inbox as bookings. And I'm getting traction on social media, but it's not converting. Like, I can't get these seniors to actually book and work with me. But the best way to get seniors' attention, the best way to break into a market that you maybe otherwise have no connection to, is their friends posting your photos. The number one way to break into the senior market is to become the popular, exciting, fun thing to do in your senior market. So how do we do that? If we have connections, if we have all of these kind of concerns that I've just talked through, how do we actually do that and make that happen? So if you're new here, or if you're feeling that lack of traction, I want your number one takeaway from this class to be that free is not always an F word. Working for free in your business and doing free sessions in a strategic and incredibly calculated, smart way is not going to set you up for failure. It has the potential to set you up for a major success. So hear me out on this. When I began my business, one of the number one things that built my business quickly was that I looked really busy. I looked incredibly in demand even years before I actually was. And I learned that looking busy means becoming busy. And if seniors in your market are talking about you and posting your photos, then that is going to create a snowball effect of more seniors talking about you and wanting to post your photos. So how do we make that happen? I have a 3-step system for this that I have used over and over and over and over again, and I still do to this day when I need new portfolio images, when I'm in a slow season and just want a shoot to get momentum on social media. This is still the exact 3-step system that I use. Number one is you have to find the right senior. And here's what I mean by the right senior. I'm talking about a senior that is going to model for you for a free session. But there are seniors that are right for this, because all of us have been tainted by an experience in the past where we have been taken advantage of. We've offered a modeling opportunity and they rescheduled 7 times, or they showed up late and it was already dark, or they showed up in a t-shirt with their makeup half done and you couldn't use any of the photos. So what does it mean to have the right senior for one of these modeling opportunities? Number one, that senior is going to be engaged on social media. Ideally, there's somebody who posts really frequently, engages with their friends, and is going to be really likely to share the photos that you take of them and have friends that they are regularly engaged with are going to do the same thing. Secondly, ideally, they're like a pretty good representation of your ideal client. If you're a photographer like me that has bright and preppy, colorful images, you probably don't want to reach out to an art student that has a more dark and moody feel to their images. You want to reach out to somebody who's going to fit your ideal client, because your ideal clients are going to be friends with more ideal clients. And our goal here is to get in front of as many ideal senior customers as possible. And lastly, ideally the right senior is going to be involved in his or her community. Maybe they're really engaged in sports, academics, clubs, but they're going to have more reach and know more people. And again, the goal here is strategic marketing. So ideally they're going to be involved in their community. But an important prerequisite here is what I'm about to tell you is to reach out to these seniors and get to know them and offer them a shoot or a modeling opportunity. But the very important prerequisite, because I hear it all the time, Hope, how do I not look creepy? How do I not do this in a creepy way? You will look creepy if you are reaching out to a high school senior with an Instagram profile that looks like this. If you do not have a profile photo of you, if you do not have a professional link in your bio, if you never post on Instagram and your Instagram profile looks like this when you reach out to a minor, it is going to come across as creepy. This is not what we want, okay? So the prerequisite to this is that your Instagram needs to have content on it. So I've given you a couple of examples of just what I mean by this. All these people are past students of mine. Kelsey is a phenomenal senior photographer in Virginia. Rob is a phenomenal college photographer in Texas. I included a guy because I hear from guys all the time, like, how do I do seniors in a way that's not creepy? He's a great example. And then Stephanie is an amazing one of my students, and she does a phenomenal job posting the cutest photos of herself. She has a professional link in her bio. You can tell that she is a legitimate professional photographer. It is not going to come across creepy for her to reach out to you on Instagram. And so the second step here is to make the right pitch. We found the right senior. Now let's make the right pitch, because the biggest thing I see people doing wrong when they're trying to grow their business or get momentum or add photos to their portfolio is that they are constantly posting model calls and discounted sessions and mini sessions, and they are setting themselves up to be viewed as the discounted photographer or the photographer who really needs work, right? And so instead, we want to pitch these people directly in their inbox. So the only person that knows that I'm offering a free modeling opportunity is me and the person that I'm talking to. And so I'm doing these pitches privately in their inbox. I like to do them over an Instagram voice message. And I'm also framing it as an exciting opportunity. So instead of reaching out to them and saying, hey, I'm a new photographer in the area and I really need to grow my portfolio, can you do me this huge favor? That is not what I want. I don't want them to feel like they're doing me a favor. I want them to feel like I'm presenting them with an exciting opportunity. Hey, I don't normally do this, but I have this specific reason, maybe a new location, a specific dress you want modeled, a new lens that you need to try out, that I am looking for a model. And I just thought that you would be a perfect fit and would really love to work with you. And then you're going to give clear parameters. I'd love to work with you for a 30-minute session at this specific location in Charleston. And I'm really looking for somebody to wear this style of clothing and do the session by this date. So now you've clearly communicated the expectation. And hopefully they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is such a cool opportunity. No one's ever asked me to model for them. I would love to. And you are now, step number 3, going to use this as a content gold mine. This is the same slide from earlier where I talked about all of the different pieces of content that I try to capture at every senior session. You're going to practice that strategy at this free session that you have set up with the perfect senior that you have found. Easy peasy. That is how you are going to get momentum and do free shoots in a way that is strategic to grow your business. I would do this for months. I did this all the time. And I mean, I was young. I didn't have any other responsibilities or overhead expenses. And so I could do free sessions all the time and it didn't matter. That's not realistic for everybody. And I know that. But even just doing one session like this every other week, so 2 sessions like this a month, if you do it right, can give you the content that you need to make your Instagram look busy, make it look like you're booked and in demand, You can upsell prints and products to them. Yes, I saw this question. You can still upsell prints and products to them, which is a great way to make revenue off of these sessions. But you're also hopefully having this senior repost the content that you're making. They're putting you in front of all of their friends. Their friends are hyping her up because her shoot was so amazing. And now you're gaining followers, you're gaining traction, you're starting this snowball effect of becoming recognized in your market for your senior photography. Does this make sense? Let me know in the chat if you are still with me about how to do these free shoots in a way that is going to strategically grow your business. And don't worry, I have seen so many questions come in. I'm going to start diving into questions here in just a second because I do want to answer some of these popular questions that I'm seeing. But you might be thinking one of these three things. And so I want to talk through something that I think would be an amazing offer for you. So you might be thinking, okay, Hope, these strategies all make sense, but we haven't talked about shooting or editing. And I'm in a season of my business where I really need help with understanding my camera, my shooting, and my editing. Or you might be thinking, I like all of these in principle, but how do they play out in real life? What do these workflows look like in real time at real sessions? And lastly, this class, maybe you're thinking this class was a great starting point, but I need accountability and I need ongoing support in order to actually see success with some of these strategies. And in this class, my goal was that I've given you the foundation, but you might be somebody that's listening that is looking for a little bit more than that. And so if this class has resonated with you and you're really ready to level up, you are one of the photographers that said earlier in the chat that you really want 2026 to be the year that you niche down to seniors and that you are able to book enough to do this niche that you really, really love, then this is for you because there are a few different ways that you can continue to learn about senior photography, right? Because this is a very niche type of photography. So there's a few ways that you can continue to learn more about it. Number one is what I did, which is what I like to call YouTube University. And if you're anything like me, you like to do things right the first time. You don't want to have to trial and error your way through figuring it out. So you're researching and Googling and YouTubing for tutorials, trying to figure out the right way to do things. And I found myself trying to piece together a roadmap 13 years ago, but I just ended up learning it all the hard way through years of trial and error and figuring it out on my own. You can also take online courses, and online courses are great, right? I have online courses and teach online courses, and I think they're a phenomenal resource. But what about if we are a visual learner who wants to see real life applications of the content? And the problem with an online course is that the content is stagnant, right? You watch the content and you consume it and then you apply it. But what if you have questions? What if you need help? Unless you have an online course that includes some form of coaching, you're really still left to figure all of this out on your own. So ultimately, my favorite way to learn about senior photography was to learn from somebody who gets it. And I've spent the last 13 years growing my business and scaling it despite how fast the market is changing. And like you guys have learned on this call today, I've now scaled my business to over 6 figures in revenue, and my minimum senior investment is almost $2,000. So what I've done is I've created the resource that I really wish that I had from the beginning. And what I'm so excited to share with you guys today is called the Senior Scoop. This is my senior photography membership. That is my absolute favorite education that I offer in my business. And not only am I going to be telling you about the platform, I actually just released a brand new version of the platform for 2026 that nobody has seen yet unless they are an active member of the community. And you guys are getting first access to see this brand new version of the Senior Scoop membership. And I am so excited to show it to you. So here is what is inside. So how the Senior Scoop works is that every single month, members of the community get access to brand new content, and you get instant access to all of the past content that I've ever posted inside of the community. So on the first of every month, people inside of the Senior Scoop get an access to brand new videos watching me at a real senior session. So you get to follow along basically like a bird on my shoulder the entire senior session from start to finish, 2 to 3 hours of content watching me navigate all of the things that you've experienced at a senior session in real time. So you get to see me have a mom who is shooting photos over my shoulder and interrupting the session over and over again to correct their daughter. You get to watch me show up at a location that my client was dreaming of and it's covered in scaffolding and I have to apologize and find an alternative on the fly. You get to see us get poured rain on at senior sessions and how I navigate it to still make the shoot amazing, and then how I edit those images to still create consistent results. So this membership is literally like coming along with me to senior sessions every single month. You're getting to learn from real shoots and real scenarios. But that's not it. This membership does not only include content, it also includes monthly coaching with me. So you get new content every month. You also get to get on a live coaching call with me every month to ask questions. It's just like this webinar, but you ask me questions ahead of time and I answer all of them every single month. So you get continued support from me inside of this community. And you get access to a community of like minded photographers. You get to be in a Facebook group with all of the other members of the community to ask questions outside of those monthly coaching calls, have people celebrate wins alongside you, and get continued support. And there's actually some brand new features for 2026 that I am really, really excited to show you. I'm going to pop a QR code up on the screen. You can use your phone to scan that QR code and learn a little bit more about the Senior Scoop while I'm chatting through these things if you're somebody that'd like to see more. But here are the 3 brand new things that have just gone live inside of the membership for 2026. You guys are the first people to hear about this. So there is a brand new look and design completely transformed for 2026. It is an entirely new student experience that is easier to navigate, prettier to look at, and far more functional than it has ever been before. So this membership that has existed for 5 years is now a brand new resource that is more valuable than it has ever been. And the second brand new thing inside of the Senior Scoop is there's new content. We just filmed 3 brand new masterclasses. So when you join the membership, not only do you get access to the vault of 5 years worth of content inside of the community, but you get access to these 3 brand new masterclasses that we are calling the foundations. So you will get to instantly watch the foundations of shooting, lighting, and client experience to have a full understanding of my approach to the 3 most important pillars of any successful senior photography business. And lastly, the third new feature that we are most excited about for 2026 is that it now has search engine capability inside of the Senior Scoop membership. So there are hundreds of hours of content inside of this community. And previously, it was really hard to find what exactly you were looking for. If you were specifically needing a sunrise senior session on the beach because you were on your way to a shoot and you needed a refresher of how to navigate that really harsh lighting, it was really tricky to find a sunrise senior session, even though multiple options exist inside of the community. So now you can go into the Senior Scoop and use it as your own personal Google. You can go in and type photoshopping blemishes or sunrise at the beach or rainy day senior session, or shy guy client who doesn't want to be there. And you can find real senior sessions and watch me navigate those situations in real time. There's also marketing, business, workflow and systems, and tutorials inside of the portal as well. It's basically like a content library that is specific to senior photography. It is the only membership of its kind that exists specifically for the niche of senior photography. So here's what a couple of the current members have to say about the membership. We currently have over 300 members inside of this community. They are the only ones that got access to some of these new features earlier this week. And here's what some of them had to say. Rebecca said she loves it and it is so much easier to navigate and find the content that she's really wanting to view. There's also a new favorites feature where you can create your own little folder of favorites to watch and rewatch as much as you'd like to. Madison said she thinks that even more value is added by tweaking the layout design and organizing it into categories. And now she wants to dive into the content even more. And Shelly said, aside from all the amazing content you receive, the value inside of the membership is worth it just for the live coaching call. But she said the treasure trove of material is amazing inside of the Senior Scoop. And now you can find things quickly so you can search different location ideas, props, troubleshoot different issues, and so much more. And that is exactly why we made these updates. So I was so excited that Shelly was really taking advantage of the value of these new features. So here's just a few of the topics that we cover inside of the Senior Scoop. We have videos on spokesmodel teams, lessons on how to grow your business using senior reps in 2026. We have website critiques. You can apply to have your website critiqued when you're a member. And once a quarter, I critique websites so that you can see in real time me giving thoughts on what people should be changing and tweaking about their websites. We talk about marketing. We do a deeper dive into some of the things we've talked about on this call today. And you're also getting the most current updates from me on strategies that I am actively using in my business. And you get a deep look at client experience. You get a walkthrough and screen recorded tutorials of my entire booking process, my entire gallery process, how I upsell prints and products in the back end of my client galleries. You get to see all of this in real time. The library of past content also includes demonstrations for culling, editing, and curation. You get to see me navigate rainy day sessions, windy sessions, 120-degree sessions, and 30-degree sessions. You get to see the scope of anything that could possibly go wrong weather-related at a senior session. You get to see me photograph groups of seniors and spokesmodel teams and senior boys. It is literally like an all-inclusive library of senior resources available at your fingertips. And a lot of memberships like this only give you access to the content that you have paid for. So when you join, you get access to this month's content and then the rest of the content that you pay for moving forward. But we don't do it like that. We really want the Senior Scoop membership to be accessible. That's one of our biggest goals. So when you join right now, you get instant access to 5 years worth of past content inside of the membership as well. You don't just get the content from today moving forward. You get to go backwards and have 5 years worth, hundreds of hours of worth of content to binge watch. And just to say thank you so much for being on this call today, we are actually giving you guys a free bonus for joining. If you are tuning into this class, you get access to my free desktop preset. I've never given this away before. Typically, you can only buy my presets in my shop. This is what they look like in my shop right now. They're $200 for a pack of 5 presets. But right now, if you join this Senior Scoop membership here on this webinar, then you are going to get my base preset, my most popular preset that I use on all of my own images for free, just as a free gift from us. And my number one priority for this membership is for it to be accessible. So you might have been holding your breath this whole time, waiting for me to say the price of what this costs for all of this content I'm talking about. But I created this because I wanted it to be accessible. I wanted photographers in every season, even if you're just starting, even if you're in a booking slump, even if you're not seeing the success you want in your business right now, I want you to be able to join and see results from this content, which is why it's only $27 a month. There is no catch to that. It is literally $27 a month for all of the content, the coaching, and the community that I've talked about, including the free preset that we're giving as a bonus on today's call, and including all of the new 2026 features that I've just talked about. It is only $27 a month. So if you want this year to be the year that you finally commit to specializing in what you really love to photograph, making your dreams of being a full-time photographer a reality, leaving your sessions feeling confident and excited about your images, not defeated or frustrated that you couldn't capture what you were envisioning in your mind. If you want this to be the year that you save time with editing and post-processing so that you can actually get your life back and not be bogged down by an editing backlog. If you want to serve your clients well and blow them away with client experience, and overall just book more seniors so that you can make more money with your business, that is what the Senior Scoop was designed to be for only $27 a month. And I used to feel like I was drowning trying to keep up with all of these things. We've talked about marketing, social media, we've talked about workflows, systems, client experience, shooting, lighting, editing. It was so overwhelming to me to try to figure out how all of those pieces played together to create successful systems and successful business and consistent bookings. And I would reach out to photographers in my area who just weren't willing to help. They weren't willing to answer my questions. They weren't forthcoming with being a mentor or just answering the questions that I had for them, which is why I created this resource. I could not find anywhere on the internet that was specific for senior photographers that had niche, laser-focused information and coaching so that you don't have to navigate all of those things alone like I did. And here's what a few more of the real members of the community have had to say. Kaylin said that she can confidently say that the Senior Scoop has made her into the senior photographer that she is now. Angie said that because of the Senior Scoop, she loves what she does now more than ever. She is 62 years old, and she can tell that the way Hope teaches proves that you're never too old to learn new tricks. I just love Angie. And Helga said investing in the Senior Scoop was the best decision that she made for her business. And if you scan that QR code in the top left corner, you can see even more success stories from even more amazing students like this, including before and afters of their work before they joined the membership versus after. And again, the goal is for this to be as accessible as possible. And really, this should cost kind of a crazy amount because the only other place in my business that I offer that level of consistent coaching and access to me and ability to ask questions is in my mastermind coaching program, which is $10,000 per person. My in-person workshops are over $1,800 per person, and I haven't been able to offer them in years, but that doesn't even include the cost to fly to Charleston and stay in a hotel and get here to learn from me in this capacity. And all of my other courses are in the $500 range. So technically, in order to have this level of content and coaching, you would have to pay over $12,000. But you can literally join right now, get access to all of it and the free preset as long as you join while you're on the class for only $27 a month. Again, the free preset is only included if you join while you are here tuning into the class today. This is not something that we have ever offered before or will be offering to anybody else. Here's a few before and afters of using that preset so you can see how it creates that signature light, bright, and bold color that you see in all of my images. And you are getting this. You can only get it right now on my website if you buy the full $200 desktop preset pack, but now you can get it for free if you jump into the Senior Scoop. Somebody just asked if there's a different link to be sure she gets the preset. Nope, you will get it delivered to you just using the normal check link. It will get sent to your email. So here's a refresher of everything that's included. All of the new foundation lessons on shooting, editing, and client experience, as well as all of those brand new 2026 features that I talked about, they are all included. You get brand new content on the first of every single month and access to 5 years worth of content in the vault. You also get full uncut senior sessions with real clients every month. You get coaching with me every month. You get to learn from real shoots, and you get to have those live Q&As with me every single month, all for only $27 a month. If you're thinking, I am an absolute beginner, is this the right place for me to start? I literally don't know how to use my camera. I've never used my camera in manual mode. Where do I even begin? And the reality is we created the Senior Scoop to be the perfect resource for photographers starting at zero. That brand new foundations element that we added for 2026 literally talks through how to use your camera in manual, what your starting settings should be for your camera. You can start from zero and join the Senior Scoop and see success. Another question we get a lot is, an online course scares me. What if I have questions? And that is the beauty of this membership, is that it was created to be a supportive community with ongoing coaching and support, not just a one-time course that you watch on your own time and don't have any help with. So this membership includes access to a community to ask questions and to me as your coach every single month for only $27. This is also by far the biggest question that we get. A membership is a big commitment. What if I want to cancel? You can literally cancel at any time. Anytime. You can cancel the membership at any time. So there's no minimum commitment. There's no requirement. You can join right now and cancel tomorrow if you wanted to, but you can also jump in and fall in love with it, which I know that you will, and watch so much content that is going to add so much value. You're going to want to stick around, but you don't have to. You can cancel at any time. So one more quick breakdown for you. Option A is that you can continue leaving your senior sessions just hoping that you got good images. You can freeze up during posing and struggle with your client experience. You can spend hours trying to piecemeal together a roadmap on Google and YouTube just to hope that something works. And you can try to figure it all out on your own with no one to turn to when you have specific questions or need support. Or for only $27, you can feel confident leaving your shoots with full galleries of images that you really, really love. You can easily pose and instruct your clients to create a ton of variety at your sessions in a short period of time. You don't have to do 3 and 4 hour sessions in order to get full galleries. You can learn from someone who has spent over 13 years growing their business in this market. And you can have new relevant content each month, not a course that goes dull over time. And you get instant access and the ability to rewatch all of this content to refresh your memory as often as you want. I would be so honored to have you as a member. I am about to jump into the chat to do Q&A. It is a library of content, a supportive community, and all of that is included for only $27 on the other side. You can join with the QR code up in the left-hand corner. I will also drop the link in the chat for you. You can use just that link and you will get access to the free preset. You do not have to do anything special to get the preset. This link is only for you guys that are here on the class. So using that link will get you the free preset that I'm offering as the bonus for being here. But let's go ahead and jump into some questions. If you have any questions about the Senior Scoop membership, please go ahead and drop them in the chat, or any questions about what we talked about today. And I'm going to be answering a few of them here. I've seen so many sweet messages come through of people that are already members of the Senior Scoop, which just are making my day. Stephanie said, do it. You will not regret it. This is so sweet. Okay, let's see. Is there a specific link to make sure you get the preset? You can use the link I just dropped in the chat and you will get the preset. Oh, I'm so glad that you love the preset, Stephanie. That means the absolute world to me. If you are already a member, unfortunately, preset is only available for new members that are on the call today. But there's so many. I love the Senior Scoop. I even added an icon to my phone so that I can go right to it. That means the world to me. I'm so excited to sign up. I've wanted to do it for a while, but honestly, just gotten busy and forgotten. I am so excited that this reminded you. I don't know why you haven't signed up yet either. It really is just the best place for senior photographers to learn and grow. Stephanie, all of your comments are so kind. Your courses are my absolute favorite, and the Senior Scoop is phenomenal. Sage said the membership is amazing. So much good content and monthly group calls with Hope where you can ask questions. Guys, you are making my entire day. This is so sweet. I'm looking for questions, but I just keep finding the sweetest comments. It means the world to me to have you guys inside of the membership. So thank you so much for being there. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into some questions. When taking behind the scenes videos, do you have your clients repeat the photos or do you take the videos while you're taking the pictures? Fantastic question. I have the clients repeat the pose. So I pull my phone out and I say, okay, I'm going to get a really cute little behind the scenes clip really quickly. Let's have you laugh over this way. Oh, perfect. Okay, now I'll have you laugh towards me at the camera. I treat it as if I'm taking a photo, but I let them know that I'm going to be taking a video and I kind of do it separately. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you so much for saying this, Laura. You are the best. This is so kind of you. Okay, let's see here. Taylor asked, in your contract, do clients automatically grant permission for image use or do you give them the option to opt out? I currently allow opting out and sometimes can't use some of my best sessions. This is really interesting. So if a client specifically asked me to not share their images, I would honor that. My dad was military for a long time. And so I have had military or high security clients that would prefer their images not be shared. We film all of my sessions for the Senior Scoop membership that I just told you about, and clients do have the option to opt out of that. I probably wouldn't include the option to opt out right away. Like I wouldn't present that as an option. I would include a photo release in my contract. If someone asked me to remove it, I would honor that, but I probably wouldn't like present this option to not have their images shared unless they asked about it. Hopefully that helps. Anna, this is so kind. The Senior Scoop is full of information and encouragement. And this is so sweet of you to say. Okay, let's see. I'm at work. Can I join anytime? Yes, and anytime in the next 48 hours is going to include that free preset. Again, it's only available for people that have tuned into this free class. So you will only be able to get that free preset bonus if you join in the next 48 hours. Okay. Caitlin said, when you do a free senior session, do you have them fill out a contract as well? Absolutely. It is always best practice to have a contract completed for both the safety and protection of you and your client. If you want to, you can even go the extra mile of requiring them to share about the session in some capacity if you'd like to. For example, in exchange for a 30-minute session, you are required to share about the session on Instagram 3 times. That is completely up to you. I never really required it, but if you'd like that extra assurance that they are going to be posting about the session, you can absolutely do that. Okay. Let's see. Kim asked, do you do image critiques like you do website critiques inside of the Senior Scoop? You are welcome to post image critiques inside of the Facebook community. That is a very common post to happen inside of the Facebook community. And other photographers in the group will jump in, and I will also always chime in to provide critiques. So yes, you are welcome to post that in the community, and I know that you will get lots of feedback. So excited to be a member, 65-year-old sports photographer. This is amazing. You will be amazed how many photographers around your age are already in the community, and I love having them. So thank you so much for being there. What types of questions do you include in your senior questionnaire? Fantastic question. I include all of the basics for contact information, and I get all of their social media links so that I can tag them following the session. But I also ask specific questions about what they're envisioning for their session. So I ask them about locations that they like. They have a drop-down menu of options and they can choose their top 3. I also ask them about any inspiration or Pinterest board that they pull from that they would like me to know about for their session, where they shop, how they would describe their style, what their typical outfit looks like. And I also ask the questions I need in order to plan the session well. So are you planning on bringing any props? Are you planning on bringing any family members or a pet? I ask their favorite and least favorite feature about themselves. That sounds weird to ask, but I've had multiple sessions where a client had a specific insecurity that I would have been able to minimize if I had known about it ahead of time. So I always ask that question. Those are all the questions I ask. I actually do have my senior questionnaire that you can download for free. I'm going to get that for you and drop it in the chat so that you can get access to my full questionnaire if you would like to, just for free, to say thanks for being here. I'll drop that in the chat. Okay, let's see. Oh, yay, just posted my first trial reel. We will see what happens. Amazing. Lauren just signed up. Yay, welcome to the community. I am so excited to have you. Okay, I use CloudSpot for my client galleries. I'm a huge fan of CloudSpot. There is multiple tutorials inside of the Senior Scoop community about how I use it, what products I offer, how I set up my store, how I price my prints. There's even print and product email templates you can use to upsell prints and products to your clients. All of that is inside of the Senior Scoop community. But I sell prints, I sell canvases, I sell albums, and I sell grad cards. Those are the 4 biggest products that I sell, and they are drop shipped from the lab that I have selected in the back end of CloudSpot. So it is very much an automated system. I do not do in-person sales. I sell print products on the back end of my client galleries. Okay. Anna said, is the website critique request on the Senior Scoop all of the time, or when do you plan to do them? I would love to go ahead and put my name in, but I haven't seen it. So you can apply anytime throughout the year to get your website critiqued, and I randomly select websites throughout the year to critique. So it is not a guarantee that you will have your website critiqued, but I do them at least once a quarter, typically once every 3 to 4 months. So you do have a high likelihood that at some point your website will be critiqued. Oh, great question. I'm probably going to answer 2 or 3 more. So if you have any additional questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If you've joined the Senior Scoop membership while listening, also drop that in the chat. I would love to hear that and celebrate with you. How do you recommend choosing your starting price as a new photographer? So my starting price when I was brand new, because I was only 15 and had no idea what I was doing, and also went from making $7 an hour to like $150 for a session. I felt like I was rolling in it and I was going to be rich. But so I started at like $150. I don't necessarily recommend that. If you have a basic understanding of your camera and manual mode and the ability to recreate a similar result over and over again at your sessions, you're confident in your shooting and you're confident in your editing. I think a great senior session starting price is around $350 if you are breaking into the senior market for the first time. And then I would increase my senior pricing by $100 for every 3 seniors that I booked. And I did that until I got to a point where the number of inquiries I was receiving was in line with the amount of money that I wanted to make. Basically, if I was getting more inquiries than I wanted to shoot, I continued to raise my price until that kind of balanced out in terms of supply and demand. So hopefully that helps. Just joined the membership. I've been doing senior photos recently, but this will help me get organized. I also shoot family portraits. We have so many people in the Senior Scoop that have multiple niches, that also shoot families, that also shoot weddings, that also shoot kids or newborns, and they still find value from the Senior Scoop membership. So I'm hopeful that will be the same for you. Okay. Anna, you can request it in the Facebook group. If you search website critique in the Facebook group, you will find the link to the application. Yay, you joined the membership too. So excited to have you. Okay, I'm going to find one more question. Okay, let's see. I'm going to scroll back up because I know I missed quite a few earlier today. Let's see. I'm going to go back. Let me find a good one. Guys, thank you all so much for being here today. This has been so fabulous and it has meant the world to me. I saw this question a lot earlier when I was talking about this, so I'm going to go ahead and address this one. When we were talking about doing those free sessions to build your portfolio and to gain that momentum, I saw a lot of questions along the lines of, okay, but how do you find that senior? Where do you find these seniors? And a great way to do that is to search your local high school's geotag or location on Instagram and kind of go down the rabbit hole of, and it sounds creepy, but kind of stalking online or like going through and finding seniors that go to your local high schools. You could also search, back in Virginia, we would have local boutiques where high school seniors would shop all the time. And I would go into their tagged photos and see if anybody around the age of a high school senior tagged them in a photo that they posted. And then I'd see who their friends were and just kind of start following and engaging with people in a non-creepy way, but really kind of start to get the momentum rolling by just searching on social media to find people who ideally, like I said earlier, are engaged on social media and excited to be there and are likely to repost the photos that you take of them from their session. But guys, thank you so much for being on this class today. We had almost 200 of you here live, which was just such a treat. Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in yourself, invest in your business, and for trusting me with an hour of your time today. I am so honored that you tuned in. I am so excited for what's to come in your business, and I would be thrilled to have you join the Senior Scoop community. Again, it is only $27, and I can promise you that you're going to jump in and be blown away by the amount of content and value packed inside of the community. So we would be so honored to have you jump in and get that free desktop preset. And again, that is only available to you to say thank you so much for being here. Just scan that QR code in the top corner to get access to that link. Thank you again for tuning in. I am so grateful, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Always cheering for you. Bye-bye.